Wine stirred as the alarm blared at her side, her eyes fluttering open halfway before she lazily extended her hand to turn it off. When the alarm rang again, she groaned, shot up her hand once more and silenced it. Reaching for her phone, she noticed it was almost 7 a.m. With a sigh, she crawled out of her bed and headed to the washroom. After freshening up, she got dressed for work in a lavender and white linen shirt, paired with a black skirt, leaving her short hair loose. She glanced at herself in the mirror before descending the stairs. She knew exactly what awaited her in the dining room, and as she saw her dear husband looking every bit of the handsome gentleman straight out of a movie, she could not help but sigh dreamily. He was already seated, poised, and dressed impeccably. Quickly making her way to the breakfast table, Wine was reminded once again of how attractive her husband was, and she could not get enough of admiring him. Good morning, his deep, rich voice greeted her as she took a seat opposite him. The maid promptly served Wine her usual breakfast. Very good morning, she responded sweetly, a smile playing on her lip. They were on sweet terms. Wine worked at her husband's company as his secretary. Although there had been mutual attraction, as she worked for 2 years as his secretary, Wine had initially seen him as her cold, intimidating boss. Despite her massive crush on him, she had never imagined herself marrying him, considering how daunting he was. But when he confessed that he liked her and assured her that marriage would change things, she believed him, swooning in love and accepting his proposal. Now 2 months into their marriage, Wine found herself confused. Did he actually like her, or had he proposed simply because his parents were pressuring him? Well, he was too busy with his work, and then he saw her as a convenient option, intelligent, familiar, and pleasant to look at. She brushed off her thoughts, focusing on the present. "What's my schedule for today?" he inquired. Wine, although wished for more personal conversation. "You have a board meeting at 10 a.m. to discuss the quarterly financial and the progress on the upcoming product launch. Following that, at 11 a.m. you have a meeting with Mr. Williams to finalize the partnership deal. At 1 p.m. there's a working lunch with the heads of department. Next quarter, in the afternoon, you're scheduled for a one-on-one with the legal team at 3 p.m. to review the new compliance regulations. Finally, you have a conference call at 4 p.m. with the international branch managers to align on the global expansion plans." And that would likely be the extent of their morning conversation, brief and work-related as always. Wine had been his secretary for 2 years before their marriage, and it seemed like nothing had changed even as she became his wife. She had expected their relationship to evolve, hoping for more emotional connection after marriage, but he remained as cold and professional as ever. The thought of discussing their relationship had crossed Wine many times, but she knew now wasn't the right time. The company was facing issues, and Jungkook was already unhappy, particularly about a spy leaking their projects. She decided to wait until the crisis was resolved before addressing things that were bothering her. "By the way, did the agent contact you recently with any updates?" "No, I think he hasn't found anything so far," Wine replied. He sighed in frustration, evident on his face. "This is infuriating. I want that traitor caught as soon as possible. The punishment would be severe once I get my hands on him." "I'm sure he will be caught soon," Wine said, trying to soothe him. "He hasn't leaked anything recently, which means he's scared. If he tries again, it will be easier to catch him." He nodded, attempting to control his temper. The company's internal spy had disrupted everything, destroying the hard work of many. He had been furious ever since he discovered the spy was someone from his own company. Then he hired an agent to root out the culprit. Wine hoped the spy would get caught soon so she could finally discuss about their marriage. She entered the company, and Lena, one of the employees, greeted her with a friendly smile. She nodded in response, and Lena followed her to her desk. "Is Mr. John here already?" Lena asked, her curiosity about Jungkook apparent. Wine never fully understood Lena's daily interest in him, but she knew most of the female employees had, at some point, harbored a crush on him. She could not blame them. She had been one of them once. "Yes, he must be checking some files. I think I should go to his office soon after finishing a little work here. Can I use your laptop?" "Yeah, sure," she said, taking a seat at her desk. Lena sat in the chair opposite her. Wine was more focused on her work. She needed to finish it quickly to join him for the meeting. After a few moments, Lena stood up. "I am done. Thank you, Wine." Wine nodded, her attention still on her task. A few more moments passed, and the beeper on her desk buzzed. She quickly picked it up. The harshness in his voice made her flinch. She felt a chill run down her spine. His voice was icy. What had happened? Wine checked the time to ensure she wasn't late for the meeting. No, she wasn't late. So what had made him so angry? Without dwelling too much on her thoughts, she got up from her desk and hurried to his office. She raised her hand to knock, but before she could, the voice came from inside. She opened the door, unsure of what to expect. She saw him standing by the glass wall, hands in his pockets, muscles tight, staring outside. That pose was a warning something was wrong. She hadn't done anything wrong, at least she didn't think so she tried to stay composed. He turned, and when she looked up at him, she felt another chill from the side of his tightly clenched jaw. He advanced towards her with a long fused eyes, now towering over her. "Do you have a confession to make?" His voice was sharp and cold. "Sorry," she playing it confused. "Or will you continue lying and hiding? How long do you think you can hide from me?" She was dumbfounded. She had no idea what he was talking about. "What do you mean?" he sneered, stepping closer. She instinctively backed away until her spine pressed against the wall. "So you don't know what I mean?" "Of course not. I don't understand what you're saying. Can you be more specific?" He scoffed, glaring at her. "Fine, let's be more specific. Who did you share our project with?" "Me?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly. "Yes, you. I did not share it with anyone. What are you even saying? Are you lying to my face?" "I swear I did not." She flinched at his outburst, her heart pounding in fear. What was he accusing her of? Was he saying she leaked the project? "What is it then?" he demanded, showing her his phone. Her eyes widened in confusion and fear. It was a screenshot of her email sent from her laptop to another email address containing the project. "Is this not your email?" She was utterly confused. Yes, it was her email and her laptop, but she had not sent project to anyone. But he refused to listen to anything she said. His temper clouded her thoughts, and she managed to respond that yes, it was her email, and he was confused that she was the spy. No wonder the spy had such easy access to his project. He accused her that the spy lived in his house. She tried to tell him that she was not the spy, but he did not hear another word from her. She explained how embarrassing it was for him because the agent told everything to him with all the employees present there. He told him how his wife betrayed him and he felt bad about it. He explained how everyone looked at him as if they pitied him, that he was a fool who got deceived by his own wife. She tried to explain it to him, but he did not hear anything from her, and he told her if it were anyone else in her place, he would have turned her in by now. But it was too bad that he could not bring himself to do that to her, so he was firing her. Her heart broke at his words. He told her to get out of his company, and when he came back home, he should not see her face anywhere near. Driving towards his house, he slammed his hand on the steering wheel several times. There was no point in thinking about what he should have done. He had already messed up. He pulled up to the enormous mansion and quickly exited. His line in, his voice was breathless. No, Mrs. June did not come. He halted in his step. She did not come home. Of course she would not come home after he told her he did not want to see her face. She had dignity. He cursed. He could not believe how much he had messed up. He turned back and climbed into the car, driving off. If she did not come home, where would she be? Was she back at her flat? He drove back to her building, but she wasn't there. She wouldn't have gone back to her village, would she? No way, but obviously after how he had acted, treating her like shit, why would she not leave him and go anywhere she wanted? She did not have anyone in the city, just her grandparents in the village before she came to work in the city. She must have gone back to them, but she had a friend here, right? Maybe she went to her. He decided to check. The friend told him that she did come here. She was crying the whole time and she said that she would go back to her grandparents. She would not be coming back to the city anytime soon. His heart started racing. She would not be coming back to the city. That meant she would not be coming back to him. Of course, after everything he said, why would she come back to him? He got back into the car, his hands gripping the steering wheel. His phone buzzed and he answered it, putting it on the speaker. He told his employee that they should cancel all the meetings and all the reservations as well. He knew he messed up big time and he knew she must be hating him right now, but he would go crazy if he did not went back and didn't see her face. He'd go insane if she was not there with him. Nothing, not his work, not his house. Nothing would matter without her. She had to be there. He told his employee that he's going to the village. It was the first time she had rejected his calls. She refused to let him hear her voice and he felt an aching yearning for something he had never felt before. He was going crazy that she would not speak to him. Why did not he trust her? How could he do that? The self-blame continued at him for hours as he drove toward the village. The roads were rough, but he could drive well. Finally, he reached the village and pulled up to a bungalow, a big, old-style house where her grandparents lived. He felt a bit ashamed of what he was about to do. 2 months ago, he had gone to her grandparents with a proposal, and her grandfather had made him promise to never make her cry. Not only had he broken that promise, but he had also broken her trust. She lay on the bed staring at the ceiling. It had been a month now ever since her fight with him. She had told him she didn't want to see him and he should leave. She hoped he did, although her heart felt heavy that she could not forgive him even after he apologized. She knew he was trying, but the hurt he caused would not go easily. She loved him, but the pain made her want to punish him to make him feel what she had felt. Her emotions were a storm of anger, sadness, all swirling together, and now she was even missing him. She was wondering, had he really left that day or was he wandering somewhere in the village? The latter seemed impossible. A man like him would not live here for long. That too was a tenant. A knock on the door pulled her from her thoughts. Her grandmother called her for a lantern festival. Wine was not in the mood, so she denied at first. But her grandmother's voice grew firmer, but still kind. She told her that she should come and not miss the festival. It had started already. She looked out of the window. The sky was dark without a single lantern. So she asked her grandma that why was the sky empty, why there were no lanterns here. Her grandma told her that why don't you come outside and see for yourself. Curiosity got the better of her. She slipped on her shoes and walked towards the door. Then she finally stepped outside. The evening air was cold, but it was the sight before her that made her freeze. Her husband was standing at the center of the yard, holding a lantern in his hand. Behind him, the entire village was gathered, each person holding a lantern, waiting. The night was quiet, everyone's faces filled with anticipation. Her grandmother stepped aside, giving her a gentle push. She said that he has something to say. Her heart pounded. She wasn't sure what to expect, but the sight of him standing there, vulnerable and open, was something she had never seen before. He took a step forward, his eyes locked on hers, as he told her that he knew that he had hurt her, that he was cold and distant, but he did not know how to show his feelings. He held up the lantern between them, the soft light glow lighting up his face. He explained to her how it was the most torturous 30 days for him, that he lived without her. It made him realize how miserable his life was without her. He stayed and contemplated on his actions. It was completely his fault, since always on this lantern he had written all the times he wasn't a good husband, and he was willing to repent for that. He told her that their lantern would be the first to fly tonight, so he asked her if she would fly it with her and give him this chance to make things right. She felt her eyes heating. She stepped closer, her hands trembling as she took the lantern and read all the words thereon. The apologies, the promises, and everything made her overwhelmed. She turned to her grandmother with a mischievous smile and asked her, "You told him to do that, right?" But her grandmother told her that it was his idea. She only told him to do the gesture. Wine's heart felt heavy with joy, realizing that he had come up with this beautiful gesture on his own. A man who had once struggled to show his feelings had now done something so thoughtful and meaningful as this festival symbolized, leaving that past behind as you write it on the lanterns and watch it disappear. It made her love him even more. She turned to him, her heart full. "Yes, I will fly with you," she whispered, her voice shaking with emotion. She was unable to speak more. Together, they lifted the lantern high, their hands holding it firmly. The moment felt priceless, as if they were truly letting go of the past. As the lantern rose into the sky, she felt a weight lift from her heart. The villagers began releasing their lanterns to the sky, filling with light. He turned to her, his voice gentle as he confessed his love and promised to love her even more from now on. She confessed her love too and told him how she had always loved him. They stood together, watching their lantern float higher and higher, a symbol of their fresh start. The sky above them glowed with countless lanterns, each one taking away the old sorrows, making way for love and second chances. I hope you liked this story. If you did, do subscribe and give it a like. Thank you.